Marshall Goldsmith, Triggers, Creating Behavior That Lasts, Becoming the Person You Want to Be. Are you ready to embark on a journey towards personal growth and lasting behavioral change? Triggers, Creating Behavior That Lasts, Becoming the Person You Want to Be by Marshall Goldsmith reveal the hidden power of triggers, stimuli that reshape our thoughts and actions. In this summary, you'll learn how triggers can directly or indirectly influence us, often unconsciously, and how to cultivate awareness of them to avoid the resistance that holds us back. The book highlights various techniques you can use to overcome behavior-inducing triggers and become the best version of yourself, including identifying your triggers, asking active questions, monitoring progress, and developing structure in your life.
Understanding triggers. Triggers are stimuli that shape our thoughts and actions, and they can take many forms. They impact us in various ways, either positively or negatively. Positive triggers can remind us to perform positive acts, but negative triggers can be powerful enough to stop us from creating change. We may not always be aware of when we're being triggered, and this is why triggers are so impactful. The author's experience with his comb-over illustrates how triggers in our environment can pressure us to behave a certain way. The Excuse Inventors. We resist changes that could improve our lives due to belief triggers, inner beliefs that we create to justify resistance. These triggers dupe us into thinking we're capable of changing whenever we want, making us inaccurate in our assessments of ourselves. Even though we behave differently, based on our surroundings, we are often not aware of these patterns. In this manner, both internal and external triggers prevent us from achieving self-improvement goals. Identify your triggers. Identifying triggers is key to controlling behaviors. This summary explains how to identify your triggers and provides examples of how to use this knowledge to stay in control. If you want to be the best version of yourself, you need to identify your triggers. But this is often easier said than done because we don't always know what influences us. One way to gain self-awareness is to give yourself feedback by identifying your triggers. To start, pick a behavioral goal, such as exercising in the morning, and make a list of the people and situations that influence whether you achieve this goal. Determine which triggers motivate you and which lead you astray. Ideally, triggers that motivate us should be things we want or need, like praise or money, while triggers that discourage us, like checking emails, are things we want to do but don't really need. Once you've identified your triggers, you can connect them to your behavior. By analyzing the pleasure situation that's keeping you from achieving your goal, you may realize that a different time of day or a different activity might be better for you. With practice, you can learn to spot your triggers and choose how to respond to them, rather than acting on impulse. For example, the author was once caught up in a moment of pleasure during an interview on the Today Show. Though he was enjoying himself, he knew he was under the influence of a pleasure trigger and resisted the impulse to keep talking. By recognizing and controlling his trigger, he avoided embarrassing himself on national television. By identifying our triggers, we can gain control over our actions and live our best lives. Overcoming negative environments. Learn how to tackle negative triggers in hostile environments by adapting your leadership style and knowing when to avoid or adjust to them. Have you ever found yourself in an environment that makes it hard to focus on your work because it's more hostile than supportive? Negative environments are a challenge to overcome, but by adapting your own approach, you can nip those negative triggers in the bud and become a leader of your own behavior. To tackle a project that requires a specific approach, you might adopt a determined, step-by-step leadership style. For instance, senior partner Rennie carried an index card that reminded him not to confuse his staff and never to give the same assignment to more than one person. This helped him to direct his own behavior during staff meetings. Another way to deal with environmental triggers is to forecast the environment, determining whether to avoid it completely or adjust yourself to it. Sachi, a high-flying tech executive, anticipated how her low-income friends in India would react to details about her job by thinking she was bragging and changing. Since she couldn't avoid this environment, she simply adjusted the way she described her job. She mentioned that she travels a lot for her work, which can be tiring, rather than waxing lyrically about the trips to Paris. By doing so, she wasn't insensitive to her friends in their environment and demonstrated her qualities as a sensitive and caring person. With the right mindset and leadership style, you can learn how to adapt to any negative environment, become a leader of your own behavior, and overcome any unfavorable scenario you face. Active questions. The author believes in the power of active questions in prompting behavior change and self-improvement, and suggests that asking oneself active questions and keeping score of progress can lead to a more fulfilling life. The book argues that negative environmental triggers can force people to behave in unconstructive ways. However, humans are not slaves to these triggers. Instead, they can take control of their lives by asking themselves active questions. Unlike passive questions, active questions encourage individuals to think about what they are doing and to take responsibility for their own sense of fulfillment. The author suggests that active questions such as, "Did you do your best to set some clear goals?" can lead to more engagement with personal goals. The author himself asks active questions every night before going to bed. He scores himself based on a scale of 0 to 10 to track his progress. Keeping score can motivate individuals to improve themselves and put more effort into making positive changes. The book highlights the importance of finding a person or a system that can act as a scorekeeper. This scorekeeper can motivate individuals to regularly check their progress and keep track of their personal growth. Overall, the book emphasizes the power of active questioning and self-accountability in leading a more fulfilling life. Overcoming ego depletion. We become depleted throughout the day as we resist temptation, make decisions, and exercise our willpower in other ways, resulting in a phenomenon called ego depletion. The best way to combat ego depletion is by creating structure in our lives. We can develop structure by making choices and sticking to them, thereby eliminating the need to make sensible decisions. 6 active questions can also help us assess our responses to unpredictable events and ensure positive decision-making. The power of awareness. Developing awareness is key to creating positive change in our lives. By asking 6 engaging questions, we increase our understanding of our triggers and improve our ability to manage them. This leads to greater engagement and a commitment to creating lasting change. The circle of engagement, which involves awareness, choice, and behavior, is a powerful tool for making decisions that impact both ourselves and those around us. Through real-life examples, the author demonstrates how developing awareness can lead to mutually beneficial relationships and positive exchanges.
In summary, our personal growth and ability to sustain change is significantly influenced by the triggers we encounter daily. Goldsmith's Triggers provides valuable insights and practical tools for managing triggers in our environment, helping us cultivate awareness, monitor our progress, and ultimately create lasting behavioral change. By identifying our triggers, asking active questions, developing structure, and engaging in positive circles of engagement, we can resist unhelpful impulses and become more purposeful, present, and fulfilled individuals. Now, equipped with this transformative knowledge, it's time for you to take charge of your life and become the person you truly want to be.